Good day, viewers, and welcome to DDM Health News Updates. Under our program, Your Health, Your Wealth. Today, we turn our attention to a critical issue affecting the healthcare sector in Nigeria. The challenge is hindering local pharmaceutical production and the urgent need for policy reforms. Pharmacists across the country have raised concerns over weak government policies that continues to stifle the growth of pharmaceutical industry. These challenges, however, they argue, have not only limited the availability of affordable medications for Nigerians, but have also fueled the proliferation of counterfeit and substandard drugs, posing significant health risks to the public our population rather. Experts in the field highlight the economic downturn as a major catalyst for this crisis. This rising cost of imported drugs, driven by foreign exchange volatility, has left many Nigerians seeking cheaper alternatives, an opportunity that unscrupulous suppliers of fake and expired medication have exploited. Speaking exclusively health-wise, key stakeholders in the pharmaceutical sector emphasize the urgent need for a collaborative efforts between the government and local manufacturers. The access for that strengthening domestic drug production capacity is crucial to addressing the scarcity and soaring prices of essential medicine. Olumide Obube, Vice Chairman of the Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria, Ogun State Branch, lamented the country's over-reliance on imported medicines, making the supply chain vulnerable to counterfeiting. He urged the government to take decisive action by mandating that a portion of its drug procurement comes from local manufacturers. Additionally, he advocated for low interest loans and tax incentives to support indigenous pharmaceutical firms, ensuring that quality medications remain accessible to the average Nigerian. The national chairman of the Association of Nigerian Pharmacists of Nigeria, Kenneth Onwebu, echoed similar concerns, emphasizing that boosting local drug production would not only enhance national drug security but also attract foreign investment and stimulate economic growth. He, however, stressed that the ease of doing business in Nigeria must be improved to encourage local investments. A major hurdle in the industry, Honorable noted, is the foreign exchange crisis with Naira's value plummeting beyond 1,000 Naira to the dollars. You can imagine that. This situation has severely impacted importers, making the procurement of raw materials and essential pharmaceutical products increasingly very difficult. Meanwhile, Emeka Adimoha, head of quality assurance and regulatory affairs at Shalina Healthcare, called for a holistic policy reform to revitalize local pharmaceutical products. He highlighted that certain government policies are stifling the sector, particularly high import duties on raw materials needed for manufacturing. To attract investors and strengthen domestic production, he insists that a strategic, long term approach is really required. As Nigeria grapples with the economic and public health implications of these challenges, experts are urging the governments to take swift and decisive actions. By doing so, and prioritizing policy reforms, reducing bureaucratic bottlenecks, and fostering public private partnerships. In doing so, Nigeria can pave the way for a more self sufficient pharmaceutical industries, one that ensures the availability of high quality drugs and affordable for all Nigerians. Next, as the world commemorates International Women's Day, IWD 2025, Women activists and leaders have amplified calls for concrete action towards gender equality, equity, and empowerment of women and girls. The occasion marked annually on March 8th celebrates the social, economic, cultural, and political achievements of women, while advocating for sustained progress in eliminating barriers to their advancement. Well, at the Woman of Substance 2025 International Women's Day event, themed Accelerate Action on the Rights, Equality, and Power of Women and Girls. Key stakeholders highlighted pressing concerns, including poverty eradication, political underrepresentation, and the urgent need to end gender based violence. Despite a near equal male to female population ratio in the country, women's participation in politics remains critically low. The Sustainable Development Goals (SDG) Action Group reported that while women secured 28.6% of legislative seats in 2021, the United Nations Sustainable Development Assessment reveals that female representation in elective and appointive positions in Nigeria stand at a mere 6.7%, far below the global average of 22.5%. Speaking exclusively, Ife Onyebula, the convener and executive director of Women of Substance, underscored the need for intensified efforts to combat gender inequality, economic disparity, and domestic violence. She expressed concern over the alarming rate of marital violence, emphasizing that societal pressures often compel women to remain in harmful relationships. Marriage is beautiful, she emphasized, but when it comes to a space where a woman risks her life, it is imperative to prioritize personal safety over societal expectations, Onyebula stated. In alignment with this year, IWD team accelerates action and the United Nations team for all women and girls, rights, equality, empowerment. The Director General of Imo Broadcasting Corporation urged collaborative efforts among governments, stakeholders, and civil society to dismantle systemic inequalities. Similarly, Olori Janet Afolabi, Queen of Apomo Kingdom, emphasized the importance of grassroots empowerment as a catalyst for sustainable development. She raised concerns over the prevalence of teenage pregnancy in rural communities, advocating for targeted interventions to improve the social economic conditions of women in these areas. As things goes on, addressing legal and institutional challenges, Buzz Ironsi, Executive Director of Women's Rights and Health Project, decried the systemic obstacles hindering women's progress. She condemned the persistent discrimination, workplace harassment, and lack of implementation of protective laws, insisting that legislation must be enforced with accountability. We must move beyond symbolic legal frameworks to laws that genuinely hold perpetrators accountable, regardless of their status, Ironisi asserted, further urging the president to extradite the signing of the sexual harassment in tertiary institutions prohibition bill into law. Meanwhile, Tola Ajayi, clinic manager at Nordical Fertility Center, called for the removal of cultural barriers limiting women's potential. She stressed the importance of health awareness, urging women to prioritize their well being despite financial constraints. Adding her voice to the discourse, Amaka Chibuzo Obi emphasized the power of unity among women in driving meaningful change. She called for a shift away from internal competition and towards collective progress, accepting that the advancement of one woman is the advancement of all. As the global community reflects on the strides made towards gender equality, the consensus remains clear. Action must be accelerated, policies must be enforced, and systematic barriers must be dismantled to create a truly equitable society for all women and girls. Well, friends, this will be all on your health, your wealth. Thanks for joining us today on our program. Stay with us for more insightful discussions on health and policies. And don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Dashra Digital Media, for more news updates. Until then, and until next time, I remain your host, Lady Michael Inizumi. Bye for now.